I gotta tell you, I just got back from D.C. last night from the swamp, and it is hot as heck out there. And rainy and swampy. It's great to be back in Wisconsin. Let me I'm gonna get to Leah in a second, but it is so fascinating what's happening in America. You see this divide, right? The Democrats and the resist movement inside the Democrats Party, they're fighting against everything they were working for. And if you look at the two sets of ideas, we believe, and we fought, listen, I see so many of you for decades. I mean, Pat Snyder, a guy on conservative talk radio who was fighting for these principles. Pat Teston in the college Republicans, and now a senator, wow, fighting for these principles. And Tom Tiffany in every party meeting, and then as an assemblyman and now as a senator, fighting for these principles. The idea that if you limit the size and the scope of your government, not no government, but reduce the influence in our lives. We lower your taxes, let you keep more of your taxes. We have a strong military, and we turn the economy over to all of you instead of bureaucrats in Madison and Washington. Something amazing happens. The economy grows. We put people back to work with higher wages. Did you guys see the announcement today? 4.1% GDP growth. They said that economy was going and never coming back. We thought the 1.8% economic growth years of Barack Obama were here forever. But here, what Donald Trump and Republicans in Washington have done has said, you know what? We have faith and trust in the American people. And we know if we give you more power, more of your own money, you'll go out and you'll invest and you'll create and you'll innovate. And more jobs will be had for the American worker. And by the way, on tariffs, our country gets screwed every single day by bad trade deals, whether it's Canada or Mexico or Europe or China, and Donald Trump says no more. I'm going to fight for better deals for the American worker. So we have manufacturing and ag that pays great wages here in our community. It's fighting. Listen, this is not about politics, because on the trade front, we wouldn't be involved trying to have better trade deals with our partners if it was going to be great politics, because we got a raging economy. You leave that aside, you go, you know what, we're not going to talk about unfair trade deals right now because everyone's working. Our wages are higher. But you know what, if you're looking over the horizon and you want to make sure that you have a strong economy for your kids and your grandkids, you have to fix these trade deals. The Chinese are stealing our intellectual property. The fact that our companies invest millions, if not billions of dollars in new technology, and they go to China and the Chinese steal it. And so you've invested $1 billion, they've invested nothing, they recreate your product, and they come to the marketplace, and because they had to invest no money, they're gonna sell it way cheaper, and they beat us. No more.
No more.
We're done with that. We're gonna fight for the American people, for the American worker, and we need someone else in Washington to help us out. And I look at Leah and why have you guys ever seen Rachel on Fox News yet? Who's here with me? Doesn't she do a great job? Rachel and I both support Leah Vukmir because I see the fight that we have in Congress. I mean, the fact that we have passed hundreds of bills that go to the Senate that can't be passed because we have obstructionists like Tammy Baldwin in the Senate. You look at how important the court is. Now, Tammy Baldwin tries to hide, but I guarantee you she is not going to vote for Judge Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. Will Leah Vukmir vote for Judge Kavanaugh? Absolutely. And I know we have a primary on our hands, but when I look at Leah, there is no question in my mind when she gets to what she'll do. Because she has been tried, she has been tested. When Act 10 came, and they're trying to make the Wisconsin economy work for the Wisconsin people, and people are screaming and spitting and yelling at Leah Vukmir, did she buckle?
No.
Did she cave? No, she stood strong and fought for us, and the consequences of that fight have been a great Wisconsin economy. I want her to help make the American economy great. We need senators like Leah. And by the way, when I look at central Wisconsin, everybody, sometimes for those who have been involved in this party, and I don't know where you're going with the triple D, Pat, but we had Democrats that ran central Wisconsin for a long time. And what you see now in this politics of the Wisconsin electorate, we have southeast Wisconsin, and it's about turnout, and you have Madison, and it's about turnout. But if you look at how do you win a statewide election, whether it's Donald Trump, Scott Walker, or soon to be Leah Vukmir,
7th district.
You win in the rural parts of Wisconsin. In the rural parts, if you look at us at communities of 10,000 or less, we're 52% of the Wisconsin vote. So you win up here, you win Wisconsin. We can dictate who we send to this primary on August 14th and who we send to Washington this November. Listen, I couldn't be happier to have Leah here. I couldn't be happier to have a Central Wisconsin supporter. Rachel and I are huge fans of her. Let's give our warm Central Wisconsin welcome to our next senator from the great state of Wisconsin, Leah Vukmir.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Marathon County. Are we going to win on August 14th? Are we going to win on November 6th? Are we going to help President Donald Trump truly make America great again? Yes, I am ready. I am so excited. I want to thank my friends here and to have Pat and Tom and of course Sean and Rachel. Your support and your endorsements mean so much to me. Thank you for electing these great people to represent you in Madison and Washington. And I see John Spiros and Jerry Petrusky as well and Bob Culp, all of these great leaders that you have chosen to work with us in Madison and Washington. I could not be more proud to be a part of this team. And clearly, Central Wisconsin, your county has made a difference. So thank you so much. And thank you all for your service and your support. It means so much to me. My friends, I'm a mom with a cause who never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be running for office. And here I am, someone who merely questioned the role of government in my family's life. I was concerned about teaching, and it led me on this odyssey that brings me before you today as a candidate for the U.S. Senate. You know, I've traveled 77,000 miles on my car now. Everyone always asks me where my odometer is. I've been to all 72 counties, most more than once. I've been up to your county many, many times, and I love it here, and you have been so welcoming. And everywhere I go, I hear the same thing. Tammy Baldwin doesn't represent our Wisconsin values. She doesn't represent our American values. She stands so far to the left that she makes Chuck Schumer look like a moderate, if that is possible. But it is. Think about it. Chuck Schumer didn't sign on to Bernie Sanders' Medicare for all, single-payer, government-run health care. Tammy Baldwin thinks that's good for us. Tammy Baldwin avoided a vote on the floor of the U.S. Senate on a pro-life bill. We are a pro-life party. Tammy Baldwin was absent on a bill that my colleagues and I voted for. Governor Walker passed and signed into law. She wasn't on the floor. She thought it was okay to hide, and she appeared on the floor 15 minutes later to vote on something else. Maybe she learned a little something from those 14 state senators that ran off to Rockford. Remember them? Mm-hmm. You don't send us to Madison. You don't send us to Washington to hide in the wings. You send us there to take tough votes. Tough votes we have taken for you here in Madison. Tough votes Sean has taken for you in Washington, and tough votes I will take in Washington for you. Tammy Baldwin doesn't think you deserve an extra $2,000 in your pocketbook. Boy, am I going to remind her of this. I approached her at an event. She spoke at a luncheon. They were a little surprised that I would go to this luncheon that she was speaking at. I said, "Hi, Tammy. I'm your constituent. I want to know why you voted against the tax cuts." Tammy said some long story about wanting to make sure that tax policy is not geared towards the rich. And then she said, "And I want to make them permanent." Well, guess what? Isn't she going to have a chance to take a vote on making them permanent? We'll see if she remembers what she said. Tammy Baldwin, worst of all, the worst thing of all, she let our veterans down at Toma. I cannot forgive her for that. I am a military mom. Thank you all in this room who have served or are currently serving. My son is a first lieutenant in the United States Army, and I gotta tell you, nothing makes my blood boil more than to think that Tammy Baldwin knew, only Tammy Baldwin knew, that a doctor was overprescribing opioids. Many veterans became addicted, and one died. How in the world can she run around the state right now embracing the heroin and opioid addiction problem when she had a document in her hand that told her of the abuses that were going on? It's wrong. I'm going to remind her of it every single day. You need to help me. The list goes on and on. We all know that Tammy Baldwin doesn't represent Wisconsin values. Tammy Baldwin represents the values of the left coast. Tammy Baldwin doesn't come to Wisconsin except when it's time to campaign. We are going to send Tammy Baldwin packing. I need your help to do it. We can do this. Pat talked about all we've done here in Wisconsin. I call it the Wisconsin way. It's time to take that Wisconsin way, to join Sean, the rest of our amazing delegation, and join President Donald Trump in making America great again. I'm in this. I'm in it for the long haul. We've got 2.5 weeks, but I need your help. I'm excited to have the endorsement of all these individuals here that I mentioned. I also have the endorsement of Mrs. Scott Walker. And the governor's son, Alex, is in the back of the room. He's working hard as my political director. To have the support of Wisconsin Right to Life, Pro-Life Wisconsin, Wisconsin Family Action, and how many of you heard about the sole endorsement by the NRA last week? Watch for those orange postcards. My friends, I have to get through August 14th. I have a primary. My primary opponent is sending a lot of negative ads. The people that are supporting him, out-of-state special interest groups, DC insider special interest groups, are spending $2 million in the next 2.5 weeks to prevent me, a proven, consistent conservative, from going to Washington. Are we going to let that happen? No. We can't let that happen. These are the same people who spent millions against President Donald Trump trying to bring him down. They spent thousands on Scott Walker trying to prevent him from being elected, and they spent thousands against Tommy Thompson. Could be the reason why we have Tammy Baldwin today. My friends, we're not going to let it happen. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's take the Wisconsin way to Washington, and let's make America great again. God bless you for all you have done, all that you will do. Let's win in August, and let's win on November 6th. Thank you. Keep the faith.